What if I told you that the Trump administration has floated an idea that would kick millions of families off Section 8 after just 2 years? No more long term assistance, no matter the circumstances. Imagine someone telling you that you have 24 to 48 hours to move your entire house out. What if someone came to you and told you that you will no longer be paying 30% of the full rent, but you would now be responsible for the entire amount, no matter what the amount is? Would you say that is cruel, or would you say that is some type of reform? Listen to what this TikToker says here.
The fact that y'all are so comfortable talking about people that are on Section 8 is crazy. Am I on Section 8? No. But, bro, we are one paycheck away. There's people that could literally be homeless if they did not have Section 8. And the fact that y'all would rather see people be homeless than on Section 8 is crazy as hell. What happened to everybody just minding their damn business? Okay, yeah, I mean, I get it that you have to pay, that we have to pay a much higher payment for rent or mortgage. A lot of people have Medicaid. The difference between having Medicaid and having Section 8. Not everybody can afford high ass medical bills. So they have Medicaid. Like, bruh, living in America is hard as hell. And if I was by myself, I'm getting Section 8. I only have one income, and when I can get the help that I needed, especially if I have kids, sign me up. Rent is high as hell. You cannot make it on one paycheck. So let's say you bring home 14. Let's just say you bring home 12. You bring home 1,200. How much is rent? Rent's 1,200. Most of rent nowadays is from 900 to 1,200, and that's just Kentucky. Ain't no telling how much it is in California. You can split up that paycheck or just give one paycheck to rent or mortgage. They need Section 8 for a reason. What happened to everybody just minding their damn business?
Now, let's start right here. No one is criticizing Section 8 itself or wishing eviction on people who need it. What most people are frustrated with are those who abuse the program. Let's start with the basics. How is Section 8 funded? Do any of y'all know? Section 8 is funded by federal income taxes and other federal revenue sources. The money is taken, or should I say, the money is collected. It is then budgeted by Congress each year, and then it is distributed throughout the state and to the housing authorities. So when people say, why don't you just mind your own business? My response is, if our tax dollars is paying for this service, it is my business. It's your business. Here's the reality. Across this country, hard-working, tax-paying Americans are out here paying $1,900 to $2,100 to $2,300 to $2,500 a month in rent with no assistance and no relief, no help, no breathing room whatsoever. Meanwhile, some people who are fully capable of working are not working. Yet they are supported by Section 8, which is provided by our tax dollars, and we're supposed to just mind our business. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to see nobody evicted. I don't want to see nobody homeless. I believe that everyone deserves to have a roof over their head, some safe warm shelter. But I also believe in fairness, equality, and accountability. I want y'all to look at these numbers right here. And I'm going to break these numbers down, and I don't want these numbers to overwhelm you, but I want you to just think about it and put it into perspective. Do y'all know how many people are on Section 8 right here in America? I don't know about other countries. I don't know if other countries even have Section 8. But do y'all know how many American citizens are on Section 8? I did a little research, a little digging, and I found this. It says around 4.8 million people in the U.S. are on Section 8. That's a lot of people. But I want to go a little deeper than that, because the thing about Section 8 is it's a lot of young women, and it's probably 95% women with children that are on Section 8. But then there are elderly people that are on Section 8, and then there are those who are disabled. So I want to know how many young people was on Section 8 and how many elderly people are on Section 8, and see the parallel. This will help you and I to understand if this new idea that has been floated by the Trump administration is fair or not. So what do we say? We say there are 4.8 million people in America on Section 8. Of that 4.8 million, 1.8 million people, which is about 37%, 1.8 of that 4.8 million are elderly and disabled. These are the people who truly cannot work at all. So let's break it down again. There are 4.8 million people on Section 8, but out of that 4.8 million, 1.8 are elderly and disabled and cannot work. That means that the rest of the people on Section 8 are young people, young women. And that leaves about 3 million young people who are perfectly capable of getting a job and providing for themselves that are on Section 8. You mean to tell me that there are more young people, more young women who are perfectly capable of getting a job and working? It is more of them on Section 8 than it is the elderly and the disabled? What's the issue? Why are there so many who can work on it and don't, and still benefit off the system that's funded by people who do? To make it worse, you know what makes Section 8 tenants worse is that a vast majority of the Section 8 tenants don't even want to abide by the program rules. That's another reason why the Trump administration is stepping in and want to change the way Section 8 is done. They want to control who gets it. They want to control how long you can get assistance. What are the rules to this program? The rules that a lot of people who are on it don't want to abide by. Here's a list of them. Number 1, income limit. You must stay within HUD's income eligibility guidelines, usually under 50% of the area median income. If your income rises too high, then you lose eligibility. Now we're gonna get more into that later on, because I'm gonna let y'all, well, it's not really a secret. It's not really a secret. But we're going to discuss how many get around that that income, excuse me, that income eligibility guideline. Number two, one of the other rules they have is report changes. You must report changes in income, household size, or living situations to your housing authority, usually within 10 to 30 days. Failure to report can equal possible termination. Now, I thought that was kind of crazy to me because that showed, well, this is letting you know, basically, you shouldn't have no man in the house. You shouldn't have another adult in the house. Whoever is in there when you move in, those are the only people that should be there. I don't think a lot of elderly people and a lot of disabled people have this problem. I'm pretty sure most of y'all would agree with me that the most of the people that have this issue are the young women with children who want to have a relationship and invite that person in. But we'll talk about that later. 3, use the voucher properly. Vouchers must be used for your primary resident only. You cannot sublet or rent to families in most cases, or use it for business purposes. 4, you must pay your share of the rent. Now, I thought this was really interesting because I didn't know that I didn't really know how Section 8 worked when it came to payment. It says the tenants usually have to pay 30% of their adjusted income towards rent. Tenants usually pay 30% of their adjusted income toward rent. That's not a lot. Consistently failing to pay your share can get you removed. So what this is telling me that you have to have a job in order to pay your share. But what if you don't have a job? Somebody's gonna pay their rent. And most likely it's not the person that's staying there because they don't have a job. So what this is telling me, unless I'm looking at it wrong, what this is telling me is that a lot of people, or a lot of young people that are on Section 8 who are refusing to work are basically living practically rent free, if not rent free. Number 5, follow lease and program rules. You must follow the landlord's lease terms and Section 8 program rules. Serious lease violations such as drug activity, property damage, violence, criminal activity, all of those get equal to termination. There must not be no fraud or misrepresentation, lying about income, hiding household members, or you know what? This household member thing seems to come up a lot. So apparently, a lot of people that are on Section 8 break this rule the most. They are breaking this rule the most. What was that? Lying about income, hiding household members, or forging documents is considered fraud. Immediate removal and possible criminal charges are sure to follow. 7, inspection and housing quality. Your rental must pass HUD housing inspections. If a unit fails and issues aren't fixed, you may have to move to remain on Section 8. 8, recertification. Usually, once a year, your housing authority will recheck income, household information, and lease compliance. Failure to complete certification is loss of voucher. Now, what are the most common reasons people lose their Section 8? Unreported income or household members. What I tell you, this household member thing is a very big deal. And apparently, this is the rule that is broken the most. This is what I'm talking about. A lot of people that are on Section 8, these young people, are taking advantage of the system by not abiding by the program rules. Let's be real. A lot of folks in Section 8 are making way more than they report. Some have side hustles, cash jobs, or, again, a boyfriend living there under the radar. He keeps his stuff, usually, we all saying this. The boyfriend usually keep his clothes and all his belongings in the trash bag by the back door. So inspectors don't catch him, and his income never gets reported, no matter what the income is, whether it comes from illegal activities or working a full-time job. Whatever the case may be, his income is never counted, it's never reported. Meanwhile, hardworking taxpayers are struggling to pay full rent with no help. And there's something. But we're told to mind our business while funding Section 8, something that we don't benefit from ourselves, even though we're paying into it. We have to mind our business and act like none of this is going on. These are some of the reasons the Trump administration wants to reform Section 8. And me personally, I agree with it 100%. I agree 100%. I don't want nobody to lose their home. I don't want nobody to be kicked out on the street, homeless. But come on, man. Come on. Another reason a lot of people lose their home or lose their Section 8 is due to drug-related or violent criminal activities. If you walk into many neighborhoods that are heavy with Section 8 housing, you will see drugs a lot of times. You'll see violence and crime firsthand. The rule says no drug or criminal activity in the home, but if violations were really reported and enforced, a lot of these places wouldn't look the way they do. The reality, too much gets swept up under the rug. What am I saying here? If you go to a lot of these places that is predominantly Section 8, you will notice that usually there's a lot of drug activity. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of other criminal activities taking place. People are hanging out on the doorsteps. People are hanging out on the corners. Live music, graffiti everywhere. Gangs. A lot of kids are roaming the neighborhood or roaming the streets. Don't know where the parents at. The parents don't know where the children at. A lot of parents ain't working, so where they at? If a lot of these things were actually reported, a lot of these neighborhoods would be better off. A lot of these neighborhoods would not have drugs and violence and other criminal activities if such crime and if such violations were reported as they should be. But you and I both know most of them are not. Another reason a lot of people lose their Section 8 is that they refuse to pay their rent or pay their full share. This one blows my mind because you only have to pay 30% of your income towards the rent. And a lot of them are not even working. So a lot of them are not even paying anything. Meanwhile, the rest of us are paying the full $1,800 or more every month with no help, no relief, no assistance. We're just out here just struggling to keep our head above water. Absurd. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mad at anybody that's on Section 8. I'm not. The reason why I'm not mad with anybody that's on Section 8 is because the system made it possible. The system made all this possible. But now that they're talking about limiting it to just 2 years with the requirement to work, a lot of folks are panicking like the world is ending. And I'm sitting here wondering what's What's really the problem? I try to understand why your people panicking. I don't get it. You still have 2 years. Think about it. Think about this for a second. If you had a parent or a close friend or a relative and they said, hey, you can come stay in my home for 2 years. You will only have to pay a little bit towards the rent. Just pay your share. But you can stay here for 2 years. What would you do? If someone told me that I can live with them for 2 years, all I gotta do is just pay my share of the rent. First of all, I'm finna work my butt off. I'm probably gonna have 2 jobs, maybe 2 full-time jobs or a full-time job and a part-time job. But I'm finna grind it out. If I have a wife or a girlfriend, she gonna work too. We're gonna grind this thing out. Especially if you got kids. We really finna grind it out. And then every year, the first 2 years, the 2 years we're there, we're gonna stack them income tax checks. So if I can stay with somebody for 2 years, work like I want to work, my girl work how she want to work, and we grind it out, we save all the money we can. We don't go out there and get no car notes. We don't go out there and get no fancy cell phones. We don't go out there trying to buy the most expensive clothes. We don't go out here trying to buy Jordans and all this other crazy stuff that don't hold no value. And we kind of stay in the house most of the time. We eat at home and we stack our money. We save our income tax checks. After 2 years, we will be set. After 2 years, we probably have enough to purchase a home or to invest in real estate or have enough to start our own business. You see what I'm saying? Not only that, if I could stay with somebody for 2 years and do all of that, not only am I going to save money, I'm going to enroll in somebody's school and I'm going to get myself a certification or a degree or go to a trade school, get myself a trade, and I'm going to go out there and get me a career started. All that within 2 years. So what's the problem? What is the problem? The real issue is too many people took advantage of the program, but didn't take advantage of the opportunity. If you only had to pay 30% if you only had to use 30% of your income, and you're getting the nice chunk for your income tax check, and perhaps maybe child support. Most of them can get child support because most of them that are on Section 8 are women with children, and most of them have a working boyfriend on top of that. And they themselves have money that's flowing up under the table. They have a side hustle, like I said earlier. The question is, why aren't you saving? Why aren't you leveling up? Why? Why do you need to stay on Section 8 a lifetime? I remember going to school with people who was on Section 8 from the time we was in kindergarten to the time we graduated high school. That's a total of 13 years. 13 years. There's no reason no young person, I don't care how many kids you got, there's no reason why an able-bodied young woman should be receiving Section 8 assistance and help for the duration of the time she have children. You need to go to school, get yourself a trade, get yourself a degree, get a career, or learn how to start your own business. Be self-sufficient. You can't depend on the system forever. Well, you shouldn't depend on the system forever. It's time for that. It's time for that to come to a close. It's time to get off your mama titties, so to speak. I see a lot of people on these social media platforms crying that they'll be out on the streets if this bill passed. But 2 years is enough time to invest or even get a trade or a certificate or start a business, or 2 years is enough to change your whole situation. The problem is too many have gotten comfortable depending on the government. And now the umbilical cord might get cut. So now it's panic time. Honestly, if I can get on Section 8 for 2 years, I grind. Like I said earlier, I grind. My girl will grind. We'll save every dollar. We will stack every income tax check return. We will come, after that end of 2 years, we will have enough to do pretty much anything that we want. Won't be rich, won't be wealthy, but there's no reason after 2 years and y'all a couple and all you gotta do is pay a portion of the rent. I don't understand it. Why aren't you saving your money? Why aren't you going to school to better yourself? To get yourself a career. Get yourself some type of trade. Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you saving your income tax check money? I I just don't understand it. And on top of that, most of them are getting food stamps. So not only are you not paying full rent, not only do most of them have a boyfriend staying with them that has a job or doing some other activities, illegal activities and bringing money home that's not been reported, they're also getting a lot of money in food stamps. So again, what's the problem? Why can't you make a change within 2 years? Why do you need to be on Section 8 for 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, 13, 15 years? The only people that should be on Section 8 that long are the elderly. Why? Because they don't bust their butt. They don't grind for years. They've been working their entire life. Now they can't work no more. Maybe because their body has broken down. Health reasons, whatever the case may be. But they don't put their work in. Y'all young people, y'all young women who want to prance around talking about you independent, it's time to get out the gravy train. It's okay. It's okay. It ain't gonna kill you. I've been paying full rent since I was 18 years old. No biggie. Go to work. That's it. Go to school. If you have to. If you got to work 2 jobs, work 2 jobs. If you're having a hard time, stop having children as well. If you're having a hard time with one child, don't go get two. If you're having a hard time with 2 children, don't go get three. And then want to sign up for Section 8. Oh, poor me. I can't afford to take care of these kids. I can't afford the full rent. Why? Because you've been making poor choices. You see, a lot of us are actually frustrated, and I'm not saying this to try to put women down. I'm not, because there are a lot of women out here that are doing their thing. I'm talking about those who want to perpetrate like they a boss chick. They so independent. I'm talking about those. Those who are not independent, but they are dependent. And they are dependent on the government, and they are dependent on our money that we pay into the federal tax reserves or to the federal tax system. They are dependent on the government, and they are dependent on our money to pour into the federal income tax so that that money can be budgeted and distributed throughout the state and the housing authorities and then given to them. That's not how that works. It's time to buckle down. It's time to grind. I have kids. I have to work. My mom worked. My dad worked. My neighbor worked. People I work with work. Friends work. Full time. And they don't go out here and make a bunch of children that they know they can't provide for and then look for the rest of the United States citizens to help provide for them. You know, I think what makes me upset about this whole system is that it seems like the people that made good choices in life at an early age, those who decided to wait to have kids, or if they got a kid, they waited before they start having more, or if they didn't do that, and then while they was at home with their parents, they decided to go to school and do something with themselves, or they stayed at home with their parents and they saved money. Whatever the case may be, it seems like the people who made good choices early on in life are now being punished for those good choices because we don't get no help. We don't get no assistance. We have to pay full rent, whether it's 1,800, 1,900, 22, 23, 2,500. We got to pay all of that. We don't get no assistance when it comes to food. There ain't no food stamp for us. We paying the full amount. So if the Trump administration is able to pass this bill and cut Section 8, and limit Section 8 to 2 years, that's not a bad deal. 2 years is enough for anybody to get themselves together. 2 years is enough for people to save their money. So when they come out, they can invest it, or they can buy them a house, or whatever the case may be. If they choose to rent again, at least they have a nice cushion to start off with. You don't need for 2 years to do that. 2 years is enough for anybody to go back to school and get some type of trade so they can have a career or even start a business for themselves. So why y'all panicking? I think the reason why most are panicking because you took advantage of the system. And now that the train is about to come to a stop, you're looking back and you're realizing you don't have nothing because you spent it all. You squandered it all. Y'all can get enough of trying to depend on our government. The government is very fickle. We're living in some hard times right now. And there really is no end in sight. And right now, if I don't know how many of y'all have paid attention to things over the years, how things have changed, but a lot of money was given out during COVID. The PPP loans, the stimulus checks, the unemployment where people were getting twice the amount they normally get and for a longer period of time. Free food that was given out, daycare, but not daycare, but a lot of people got a lot of programs were created for people to stay in their homes without paying rent. How long you thought that was gonna last? You thought that was free? No, we gotta pay for that. And so now the government wants their money. And they gotta find a way to get it. And the way they're getting it is by cutting a lot of things out, taking a lot of things away. That's why we should be self-sufficient. We all should be self-sufficient. Men, women, adults, we should be self-sufficient. We should not be dependent on the government to do anything for us. Because if you're dependent on the government to keep providing for you, it's just a matter of time. Something's going to happen, like it is now, and they're going to snatch it away from you with minimal warning. And then you're going to be like a lot of these people here now, scrambling, panicking because you took advantage of the system, but didn't take advantage of the opportunity. It all depends on what lens you're looking through. Anyway, I don't want anyone to be homeless, but I do think that this is a great idea for the country. I think this is a great idea for American citizens because this opened up the door for a lot of people to get into this program for 2 years to get some breathing room so they can do something with themselves and change their life. When you got people on Section 8 for all these years, then nobody else can get on. There are people that's been waiting to get on Section 8 for the 3 or 5 year waiting list. That's ridiculous. You got elderly people who should get Section 8 and they can't because there's a 5 year waiting list. I hope it does pass. I hope it does pass. That way, a lot more people can have an opportunity to get into this program, be smart about it, be smart while they're in it. Maybe go to school, do what they're going to do, but use this opportunity to change your life. Be self-sufficient. I want to thank y'all for taking time out of your day or night to listen to me talk about this particular subject. Thank y'all for tuning in to the Combo with Lee Show. If you like the content, please subscribe, like, share. But I really like when people come in. It helps with the engagement and it lets me know if I'm doing a good job with my content or if I should bring different content. But I thank y'all for tuning in once again. Please subscribe. Please share. Y'all have a good day.